Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Queen of Shadows. So Queen of Shadows is the fourth book in the Throne of Glass series, which is a fantasy series. And I have reading vlogs for the previous three books that I will link if you want to check those out before this one. And the previous one was my favorite in the series, until that point. And I've heard that this is like most people's favorite book. So I was definitely very excited to get into this, and also very excited because I really started to get really invested in the plot and in the characters in the previous book. So definitely very, very excited to get into the continuation of that story. And I just want to say that there are definitely spoilers in this reading vlog, and let's just get into it. Okay, so I am on page 212, so like 1/3 into Queen of Shadows, and this starts off with Aelin, and I'm gonna call her Aelin now because she calls herself Aelin now, because in the previous book she was like, whenever someone called her Aelin, she was like, no, Aelin's dead, I'm Selena. And now in this book, when anyone calls her Selena, she's like, no, Selena's dead, I'm Aelin. So I'm gonna call her Aelin. And in the beginning of this book, she meets with Arabin, who is the guy that was like her boss when she was an assassin, and he tells her some of the things that have happened, including that Aedion is imprisoned and he's said to be executed. And so he promises to help free Aedion in return for Selena giving him one of those creatures, like demons, that the king is controlling. And then after that conversation, Aelin is taken to Kale, who is working with the rebels, and they catch each other up on basically the events of the previous book, and they are definitely not agreeing on things. They are not seeing eye to eye. And then at the same time, we learn that Aedion, like I said, he's gonna be executed, but he knows that his execution is like a trap for Aelin, because the king knows that Aelin is alive and she will probably try to save her cousin. So he's trying to die before that, and he's sick. He is dying, but he doesn't think he's gonna be able to actually die before the date of his execution. And at the same time, we knew from the last book that Dorian had one of those colors that means he's being controlled by the king, and there is one of those demons, the Valg, inside of him, in his body. And the demon is in control, and Dorian is almost gone. And so while Aelin and Kale and all of them are trying to, make a plan to save Aedion from execution, Aelin is contacted by another girl that works for Arabin, and she tells Aelin that she wants to help her take him down. And also after that, Kale tells her the way to basically free the magic and to bring the magic back. And then there's the day of Aedion's execution, and they create a diversion, they create chaos basically, and they manage to save Aedion. And Selena sees Dorian, and she sees that the demon is in control, and she's sure that Dorian is gone, but Kale is not accepting that. And after that, the last thing that happened with that group is that basically Aelin fights one of the demons to bring it to Arabin, and she was pretty iconic in that fight. I really loved it, and that is pretty much where we're at with those people. And then we got to see a little bit of the witches and the Duke, and so the king, because he's doing what the king wants. He wants a coven of the witches to breathe with some of the demons, because those demons were the ones that, like, they and Fae, like their offspring, created the witches. And so now the king wants to breathe the witches with the demons to create some kind of creatures. And Manon is not really sure, like she's the wing leader, and so she was the one that was, like, the Duke talked to her to request that request, as in, like, it's not exactly a request, like she has to do it, and she's not sure if she should because she doesn't trust it. And then she talks to another witch who says that, like, those demons, the Valg, they are very dangerous and not allies at all. And she was still debating on whether she was actually gonna give him a coven of witches, but then a coven actually, like, offered. And so she was like, well, I mean, if they offered, that's fine, that's on them. And so they are gonna be used for that purpose. And that is where I'm at. And I'm really enjoying it. And, like, Aelin, she's being pretty iconic, which I'm loving. And Kale, he has annoyed me a little bit, but at the same time, like, I can definitely understand, like, his point of view. But also, on the other hand, he's kind of annoying me a little bit. And I also think, like, I'm pretty sure that Dorian is not actually gone. That doesn't seem like something that would actually happen. And obviously, I have loved every single second that we had with the witches, with Manon. And I mean, I wish there had been more. There's actually a girl there that was like a servant, and she has witch's blood. And Manon said that if she, like, accepted that she was a witch and, like, started, like, being on the witch's side, she would protect her. And so I'm very interested in that, very intrigued, and I'm, like, pretty invested in all of the plot lines that are happening. And yeah, overall, I'm having a great time with this book, and I'm very happy about it. So I'm gonna read another third, and I will get back to you. Alright, so I am on page 437 of the book, which is 2/3 in. And we start off, like, this second third with Rowan basically joining Aelin and the others, like, he just gets there, even though no one really invited him. And then Aedion learns that Rowan took the blood oath that he wanted to take, like, from to, exactly sure what the word there is, but, like, he swore an oath to Aelin that Aedion wanted, and he was, like, kind of pissed. And then honestly, we spent so much time with just Aelin and Rowan, like, connecting, and I just don't care. Like, I don't care about him, but I also don't care about them together. So I don't really care about any of that. And we also learn that Lysandra is a shapeshifter, which, what? But also amazing. And Aelin is planning on killing Arabin, and she goes, I mean, they all, like, go to his house to have, like, a dinner, and he has one of the demons there that Aelin supposedly captured, and he basically asks the demon how the rings that they use to be like controlled by the king, how they work. And then he like takes the ring from the demon and like kills the demon. And then he tells Aelin that he wants to like work with her against the king. And then he puts the ring on her and does like the ritual, I guess, that the demon told him that the king did to control the demon. So he thinks that he's now in control of Aelin, but that was actually like all part of Aelin's plan because she knew he was gonna try to do that, but like the demon lied because she promised him something. So like in return, the demon lied, and she recovered the necklace that Arabin had stolen from her when she was a kid, which is the third word key, which is the whole reason why she even went back there to find Arabin. And then that same night, after they all leave, like Lysandra is there and she kills Arabin, which was iconic. And then, like obviously before Arabin died, Aelin actually changed his will, and so everything went to her. Like the whole Assassin's Guild and like the house, everything went to her. But like the other assassins wanted it, so she basically sold everything to them, and now she has the money for the army that Adian wants to like basically be her army. And then they're like exploring and they find a place and they find something. And basically they find out that the demon that they think the old Queen Elena and Gavin killed was actually not killed. Like it says that the eye contained him, like the eye of Elena, only for a short time. Not contained, but put him to sleep. So they built him a sarcophagus of iron and some sort of indestructible stone, and they put it in a sealed tomb beneath a mountain, a crypt so dark that there was no air, no light. Upon the labyrinth of doors, they put symbols, unbreakable by any thief or key or force. They buried him in the Black Mountains and built a key atop the tomb, so that the noble family who dwelled above might forever guard it. There are no Black Mountains in Otherland, Kael said. And then Aelin asked Rowan how Black Mountains was said in the old language, and he said Morath. And basically, like, they know that the king has like people in Morath, so they know that the king knows that that demon guy is there. And then with the witches, we have Manon asking the Duke, like, what happened with that coven that he took. And he basically just says that, like, it was successful and doesn't let her see them and doesn't really tell anything else. So basically she tells Alid to go find out what the hell is happening. And then Alid basically tells her, and she says, from what I saw, they've delivered at least one baby each and are already about to give birth to another. They are not witchlings, they are not babies. They are creatures, they are demons. Their skin is like black diamonds, and they have these snouts with teeth, fangs. Already they have fangs, and not like yours. They have teeth of black stone. There is nothing of you in them. And then the witches, she says that they have them chained to tables, altars, and they were sobbing. They were begging the men to let them go. But they're so close to giving birth. And then I ran from there as fast as I could. So they're just basically being tortured, like the witches. And then the Duke tells Manon that he wants yet another coven. That is where I'm at, basically. That is all we got from the witches. And, like, I just want more because I love every single second that we get to the witches. And, like, I'm loving Alid. Like, she's such an icon. I mean, obviously so is Manon, but, like, Manon was literally an icon from the first scene she appeared in. And Alid, like, in the first scene, she wasn't, as iconic as Manon. And I mean, she's not as iconic as Manon, but, like, she is such an icon as well. Like, I'm loving her. And also, speaking of characters that I'm loving, Lysandra, such a fucking icon as well. And Aelin, I'm also really liking Aelin in this book. I'm really loving her. And honestly, like I said, Rowan, I don't care. I don't care about their romance. And there was a lot of it, like Jim just connecting and romancing, and I don't care about any of it. And, like, Adion, like, he's cool, he's fine, but I don't love him. And Kael, he's barely been there, and honestly, like, I don't really care. I'm basically just being obsessed with every woman in this book, and honestly, I love that for me. And I'm obviously also really liking the plot, like, I'm invested, I'm interested, but I don't think I like it more than I like the previous one. And I mean, I gave the previous one 4 stars, I really, really enjoyed it. But I hear a lot of people saying that, like, this is their favorite and, like, this is insane. This is, like, the best book in the series. And so far, like, I am really enjoying it, but I'm enjoying it like as much as the previous one. Obviously, the ending can be insane because that would make sense. Like the end, I mean, the end of book three was crazy, but not like out of this world crazy, but like the end of book two was out of these worlds kind of crazy. So this might still be like that and increase my rating. But yeah, so far I'm really, really enjoying it, but I'm not as like blown away as I expected to be. But still obviously having a lot of fun, and I'm gonna finish it and I'm gonna be back. Okay, so I finished the book, and in this last third, Lysandra is taken by the king and his men because Arabin, like before he died, he made sure that the king would know that she's a shapeshifter because apparently like he knew all along. And then the king is going to see the witches and he's taking Dorian, and while like they're all getting there, Aelin and the others also get there. And then Manon and Dorian meet, and the demon inside of Dorian actually is afraid of Manon. And then while they are meeting, Aelin like gets Lysandra back, and then they actually meet Manon because Manon like took Kale, like kidnapped him, and then she was gonna let them go. But Aelin decided to tell her that she killed a witch, like the witch that she killed in book two, I think. And so Manon was pissed and they started fighting, and like the fight between them was absolutely iconic. And then they start like falling, and like Manon specifically is like gonna die or like very like in danger, and Aelin actually saves her. And so Manon like thinks that she now owes something to Aelin, and she knows that both the king and her grandmother want Aelin and the others dead. And so she's like kind of conflicted in what to do. But then she hears a story from another witch that actually helps her make a decision. And the decision is to go against the king and her grandmother. And then after like the others leave that place, Aelin and Kay like finally talk everything over and like they're okay. And then they are getting ready to kill the king and kill Dorian as well. But Manon actually left a message for Aelin because, like I said, she felt like she owed her. And so she leaves a message saying that Dorian is like still in there, like inside his body. The demon hasn't completely taken over. Dorian is still there. So they change their plan. And they go talk to the king and Dorian. And then Rowan and Aedion are like taking care of the other part of the plan, which is basically to do like what they needed to do to get the magic back. And they do get the magic back. And then like after the magic is back, Aelin helps Dorian like come back and like expel the demon. And then they use their magic together. And then we get like an explanation from the king. And basically like the ring that the king had that everyone assumed like was being used to control the demons, like the ring is out of the king's finger. The king turned to Dorian, exposing his broad palms. Everything I did, it was all to keep you safe from him. I found the key, the king went on, the words stumbling out. I found the key and brought it to Morath. And he, Parrington, who's like the duke that is giving orders to the witches, we were young, and he took me under the keep to show me the crypt, even though it was forbidden, but I opened it with the key. I opened it, and he came. He took Parrington's body, and he let his minion take me. So he also had, like, a creature inside of him. He can hide inside a body, like a snail in its shell, but cloaking his presence also stifles his own abilities to scent others, like you. And now you are back, all the players in the unfinished game, the Galathinia's line and the Haviliard, which he has hated so fiercely all this time. Why he targeted my family and yours. And basically, like, the king says that he ordered the towers built to use the spell to banish magic, and says now that they had freed magic, the magic wielders would be sniffed out by every Vogue demon. And then he explains, like, I came to find you. I came to have you burn it out of me. Alien of the Wildfire, I tried to get you to do it, but your mother knocked you unconscious before you could kill me. And the demon? The demon became devoted to wiping out your line after that, so no fire could ever cleanse him from me. All of it was to find you, so you could save me, so you could end me at last. I guess the king was not actually like the villain we thought he was. And then after that, like, Aelin reveals herself to the people as like the Queen of Terrasen. And then we also learned that Elide had been taken to, because she has like witch blood, not only, but like also, so she was also taken for like those experiments that the Duke wanted. And then Manon goes to save her. And then this is like Manon thinking like after. Regrets. It had been regrets she'd felt that night she'd killed the Krogan. Regrets and guilt and shame for acting on blind obedience, for being a coward when the Krogan had held her head high and spoken truth. They have made you into monsters, made Manon, and we feel sorry for you. It was regret that she'd felt when she heard Asterin's tale, for not being worthy of trust, and for what she had allowed to happen to those yellow legs. She did not want to imagine what she might feel should she bring Elide to her death, or worse. It did not seem like a weakness to fight for those who could not defend themselves, even if they weren't true witches, even if they meant nothing to her. So she's not obviously, you know, the monster that she's supposed to be, like that all witches are supposed to be, like have no feelings. And I just love her so much. And then like after this, Elide, like after she's saved, she says that she's going to find Aelin. And then like everything, like the whole place where the witches that were being used for experiments and like the creatures that they gave birth to, it's all destroyed. And then we find out that Kale is paralyzed, and the only way to like heal him is to go to some sort of tower, which I guess is why he's gonna be away from all the other characters in the next two books. Like one is from his POV, it's called the Tower of Dawn, I think. Yeah, Tower of Dawn. So I guess that's what's gonna happen, I'm assuming. And yeah, the very last thing that happens is that Aelin gets back to Terrasen, and that's it. And let's go into my final thoughts. So starting off with the characters, like every single woman in this book was absolutely iconic. Like Aelin, Manon, Elide, Asterin, Lysandra, even Kaltain. And seeing them like work together, and also like even when they were fighting, just seeing them together was like iconic. And when they did work together, it was also like adorable. And honestly, I didn't care about any of the men in this book, like, at all. And I still couldn't care less about Aelin and Rowan. It's not like I, hate them together. I just feel absolutely nothing. I don't care at all. And yeah, like, apart from, the romance, I really love like every plot line of this book, and I just wish that we have had more of like the witches, because I am just obsessed with the witches. Like I love them. Every single scene that we get with the witches is just amazing. So like I wish there was a bit more of the witches, but overall like I really enjoyed it, and I also really enjoyed the pacing. And the last third was definitely my favorite part of the book, and it was probably because like all the characters, met, like they were all in the same place at once, like the main characters. And I love that. And like I loved seeing Manon and Aelin interact. So I think that definitely was like a big part of why I love that. And like the last third of the book, I would definitely give like 5 stars to, but the like first 2/3, I would probably give 4 stars to. So overall, I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely my favorite in the series so far. And yeah, that's it. I'm very excited to get into the next 2 books, and I am gonna read them together. I'm gonna do the tandem read, which is like exciting but also intimidating because that is so many pages. But yeah, I'm gonna do that at some point. But yeah, had a lot of fun with this book, and that is everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!